Hello, I'm Talou. Um, I haven't recorded in a long time. So much so that I've probably gone through three hair colors, three new dyes, root dyes since then, and I need a fourth. So there's that. Anyhow, it's been a long time since I've recorded, and a lot of things have happened. Like really, really freaking cool things. Hold on, I gotta let my dog out. She's wanting to go outside because that's funny. I often have my corporate work job here in the same location when I get to work from home, and I do a lot of virtual meetings because I'm working virtual, and I interact with a lot of people in my corporate world. Um, so when I turn on a meeting for my day job, um, it my computer does a certain signaling, or something like that, bloop, something like that. And if my dog is in here with me, which she loves to be in here with me, but she also loves to be outside. As soon as she hears the bloop sound of the start of a meeting, no one even has to talk. She's like, "I'm out of here, Mom. I can't stand it." She does not like being in here when I'm on a meeting, a work meeting. And I found that weird. I think it's quirky and funny, but I'm like, well, does she not like to hear me talk, or is the computer making a weird sound? Does she not like the way the other people sound on it? This is so curious to me what it is. So I'm starting this recording, which she's in here, and she comes to my side. That's her signal that she wants the heck out of the house. And she comes to my side and just sits there waiting patiently and looks up at me like, please put me out of my misery. It's so cute. She's a 130 pound Great Dane. She's not a really tall Great Dane. She's not fat at all, but she is actually a good weight. I believe she's 10 years old. 10 years old? She was 9. Maybe something. Yeah, she's 9. She's going to be 9 in December. And man, we got a Great Dane because they're giant couch potatoes, and we're not out hiking every day, every weekend. We didn't need a dog that was going to need a lot of activity. So couch potato sounded great to us. Even though we're not couch potatoes, we just didn't want a high maintenance dog. Oh my God, this Great Dane, she's a Merle Great Dane, so she's blue grayish with a dark gray to a black spotting, kind of almost like a Dalmatian. Anywho, that's what she looks like. And by the way, she's ferocious. I never knew Great Danes could be ferocious. Man, her bark is frightening. And she backs up that bark with a frickin' ferocious attack. She is easily a guard dog. I think of her as a junkyard guard dog. That's how mean she can be. And like protective. She's very protective over me and very protective over her family members. You know, my children, my significant other child that she grew up with since she was a pup. She is so protective, very protective over me. The kids have grown up and they're on their own now, but she's very protective. So I have seen her do things that I'm not going to mention on this video, but she is ferocious, and shame on me. We did not spend the money, the time, the effort to train her. That was easily, and to train us too. We need to be trained also to be good dog owners. But she wasn't trained, we weren't trained, and she's ferocious. So yeah, she doesn't like strangers, and she doesn't like other animals. She doesn't like the other animals at all. There's a story. She was actually raised by 5 Chihuahua rescues um, that we had before her, and we had just lost our big dog, um, which was a bull mastiff, very large dog breed, and we wanted something more couch potato-y. I had mentioned in the beginning, from a bull mastiff, and that's where I researched the Great Dane. Let's see if I can turn that fan off for a minute. All right. Well, sorry for the background noise. So we got the Great Dane in and among the 5 rescue Chihuahuas. So these were cranky old men, cranky old ladies in Chihuahua form. They hated her, and they treated her so bad, and we lived on farmland, acreage, and she had the time of her life running around, especially on irrigation day. That was fun. Turn the camera a little bit. I don't know if it's going to be tilted. Anyhow, the 5 rescue Chihuahuas was definitely her initiation into life and being around animals. She was so afraid of them, and they treated her really badly. And she was afraid of them. By the time she was 9 to 12 months, something like that, she was 3 to 4 times taller than these Chihuahuas. But they still took her down. We would hear like her yelping, "Oh my God, our dog is being murdered." We'd run out into the backyard, and she's laying on her back with her paws up in a surrender mode, screaming her head off like she is literally being killed. And there's the shortest Chihuahua, which his legs were this big, this tall. It was the cutest Chihuahua. It was actually my favorite. That was Rocky. Anyhow, I miss Rocky. Anyhow, Rocky had taken her down. There was no ledge for Rocky to be on. Have no idea how Rocky even got a hold of her ear, but she got a hold of her ear because they're floppy ears. We did not trim her ears, thank goodness. But the Great Dane, that is. Rocky was hanging on with his teeth, and he's this little black and white tuxedo-y Chihuahua with the cute black lips that he was always smiling. Freaking cutest little thing. White face, his ears were black, his forehead was black, and he had really dark, he had black eyes, but he had like eyeliner, a thick eyeliner, like Sharpie marker around his eyeballs. So he was so cute. Anyhow, Rocky had the dog, the Great Dane, on her back. He was biting her ear in a submissive, dominant type of dominant way to make her submit, and we ran out there, and of course we separated them immediately. But then we, being my significant other, both stood there going, and then looking at each other like, and then back to the 2 dogs, and seeing they're now standing peacefully next to each other, and seeing the dramatic height difference. Like, how did that even happen? Did Rocky sneak up on her? Boom, 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 and pounce. No, it's the Great Dane was always bothering the old folks, poking at them. Don't poke the bear. And she's She's not the most intelligent dog. I don't imagine the cartoon Scooby-Doo. I shit you not. She is the merle gray color of Scooby-Doo. And she's a she and Scooby-Doo was an L. But just that personality, that's exactly my dog for most of its life. Now that it's turning into, she's an old lady, because they live 8 to 10 years, is supposedly what they say, and she's already coming on 9 years old. Yeah, so she's an old lady's age. She's total chill, relaxed. She's still incredibly vicious towards other animals and to strangers. I sure hated if somebody came into this property in her space. Like somebody, like a burglar or something. I sure would hate it. Ugh. That person would not be doing well if that happened. Anyhow, digressing. God, why did I tell you this story? Oh, she's Lovell, the Great Dane. She wants out. And when I started this video, God, I wonder if I'm going to edit that out. Jesus, that was a ramble on. I actually started this video going, okay, I want to talk about the Truman Show. And is there a Teresa show? My theory or thoughts behind that. Sorry about the whole dog thing. Well, now you know I have this most amazing, beautiful dog. And she's here, she's laying down, she doesn't want to go out. So it must be something to do with my work computer. Like, it must have a supersonic sound that only dogs can hear. Because I don't hear it, and she's like, I'm out. Anyhow, okay, the Truman Show. First, let me back up. So much has changed since I made my last video. I've gone through more semi-dark nights of the soul. I would say Dark Night of the Soul. There's a Dark Night of the Soul MVP. Like the first wave of your first significant experience of shadow work, the Dark Night of the Soul type of thing. And then everyone that you do it thereafter, I think gets better. Gets easier, not better, easier. Because you're like, oh, I already did that. The worst of the worst, you got out in the very first one, and then the secondary, third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth, and so on. Seems, for me at least, seems to be so much easier. And you're like, by the time, if I do shadow work now, I'm like, oh yeah, let me run that skit through my head. Oh, okay, boom. And I'm like, oh, okay, that was cool. That's literally how fast it goes. Maybe a few seconds longer. I can stretch it out if I want to, but at this point, I'm like, I just want to be done with them, and I don't go searching for shadows anymore because I've resolved all of my big ones. That is one of the main freaking things that has happened. Like, I've literally gone through this mass. I did big shadow work 2 years ago. I don't know when it was. I'd have to go back to a video and kind of count down whatever I was saying. I should really track that stuff. That would be cool. So I got through a lot of shadow work since the last time that I recorded, and a lot has happened to me. Like a lot of realizations, like a lot of knowings have happened. And it's incredible, profound, and life-changing. As I mentioned in the beginning, I work for corporate America for now. I will be quitting that job. I'm very, very okay saying this. I make $250,000 per year in my corporate life. I think that's a lot of money. To some people, that may not be a lot of money, and that's fine. But to the average Joe, to the average American family, that's a freaking lot of money for one person to make on their own. A lot of families can do it with dual income, but I do that on my own. So that was cool. That was actually an accomplishment of mine, is to make really big money, uh, really big money, based based on my upbringing and how I came into this world and living in my cycles and learning through life and the different phases. Making 250,000 a year is a big thing, really big thing. Super. My ego would say, I'm very proud. I'm very proud of us, Teresa. So, and I thank my ego, right? Had I not had my ego there, I wouldn't have. I know I would not have been able to accomplish that. First of all, I wouldn't have wanted to accomplish that if I didn't really have an ego. I would have wanted to do something much more fun. And I guarantee you, what I've learned in walking through the phases of corporate life, and I've been in corporate life since probably 1989. Whew. Young person, 89, I was probably 20 years old. So actually, I started in 87 because I remember 87, or yeah, I probably started in 87 corporate life, just out of high school. I was barely turned 18. So a lot has happened throughout time, and I can now look back, knowing what I know now, is I could look at all the phases and the cycles and the occurrences that I worked within and I dealt in my personal life. I'm like, oh wow, that was a cool phase. Oh wow, that was a interesting challenge, and this is what I learned from it. And oh, that's phase. Ouch. That was really painful. I kind of don't ever want to. I don't want to ever redo that cycle again, right? That was really painful, but I can see that I gained this out of it, and I gained this. So, sorry. That's what I've been doing since I last recorded. I was doing some of that anyways at the time of recording, but a lot has happened. I don't even know when I posted my last recording, but that's how long. It's been a fairly short time, and I've grown. Like, I don't even know how to measure how much I've grown since then. I'm just on this cool shadow integration phase, and then opening my mind up to really source bringing me information, and then learning to be more of a third person, living in a third person perspective where I am the observer. I try to spend most of my time observing myself and the interactions that I'm interacting with. So I try to have a third person perspective. And what that has allowed me to do is spending more time in a third party's perspective. I'm analyzing my reactions, my body reactions, excuse me, and also the things that I want to say to the things that I'm talking. Could be people and interactions, typically an interaction with people. And I've learned, oh, I just said that, and look the rise that it got out of this person, or look how this person reacted to what I said there. And then I may want to go back from a third person's perspective and say, I wonder whatever was said sounded completely normal to me, but it was a trigger for the other person, or maybe a couple people, who knows. I speak to a lot of people in my day-to-day life. But that's what I was able to start really digging into and understanding myself. And also with that walk is understanding that my person spent a lot of time playing life through the ego and allowing the ego to run everything. And since, of course, I've been on this journey, I've opened myself up to every day. I'm pretty good at it. There might be a day I forget, like, oh, it's lunchtime, and I forgot I didn't do that. Huh, okay. So I'll do it then. But in the morning when I wake up, I'm appreciative of waking up and being able to get another opportunity to have another day. I have those emotions. And then I say that I say, inner source truth, please guide my now moments, and thank you with appreciation. Say something like that. And then my mind is open to hearing your nudges. So I'm asking, I literally verbally ask about it, because we have free will, and so we need to verbalize things or write them down or sign them if you can't speak with voice, because we have free will. So our thoughts are just our thoughts. They're not criminal, right? Sometimes if we played out those thoughts, they would be criminal. That's not what I'm getting at here. I really don't have criminal thoughts, really. Squirrel. But that's what free will's about. Your thoughts, you cannot be penalized for your thoughts. They're just thoughts. It's when you act them out, that's where penalty can happen. And also, that's where the good things can happen too, right? So I was taught that your words and the things that you write are spells, no matter whether you believe in witchcraft or not. I try not to use that term witchcraft because it has negative connotations for people. Typically, living in a Christian household, the word witchcraft or witch has negative connotations, as though it's something negative and satanic or dark and stuff like that. But you certainly can use your words for darkness or light. It's your choice. And that's about free will also. So whether you call it witchcraft or not, anything you say, you sign. I hope I wasn't cussing somebody out there. That would be a fun language to learn. Anywho, anything you say verbally outward, that's audible, or lip syncing. That was I love you. Lip syncing, you say it out loud, you sign it, or you write it. Also, if you paint it, some sort of artwork. All of those things are spells. Whether you believe it or not, they are spells. So remember, what you say, what you write down, what you lip sync to, whatever, lip to, those things have a good possibility of coming true. So self-talk is very important. You say, oh, it's not harming anything when I say I'm such an idiot, right? You're harming yourself. You literally, that was a spell that I just said, and I've come a long way, so I'm fine saying that just for learning purposes, but I really try to stay away from that kind of self-talk. And this is coming from a person that has lived comedically throughout her entire life, from as long as I can remember, a childhood till, I don't know, not too long ago, a year ago maybe, when I really said, okay, you need to stop with the joking around. But I've lived that long in a self-deprecating comedic show. There was no one more fun to make fun of than myself. I loved it. I'm naturally a blonde, and I've lived the majority of my life as a blonde, and I love blonde jokes. I still love blonde jokes, and I loved telling blonde jokes, but I kind of had to stop telling blonde jokes when I dyed my hair red, because then it just made me look like a butthole, right? Here's this redhead telling blonde jokes, but they don't realize that I'm actually a blonde in disguise. Anywho, so there was no one more that loved self-deprecating jokes about myself. Well, that's a redundant, isn't it? So I had to stop doing that. I kind of have stopped 9 to 12 months ago. I was doing it for a long time, so it's not 100% clean. I'll still be like, ugh, what an idiot, right? Stop that, right? Stop. Oh, look at you, tree. I should turn it into, if you want to stop a cycle, you've got to, you got to run the cycle through as much as you want to run it, or as soon as you recognize that it's a cycle starting. And then you say, oh, it's a cycle. Let me stop. So let's say my cycle is some sort of self-defeating thought. Oh, Teresa, I'm talking to myself. Oh, Teresa, you're an idiot, right? If I went through the whole cycle of the statement, the spell, then I still find ways to do this, what I call almost like a circle of life, and close it out on a positive sentiment. This one might have a little challenge, but I would say, instead of leaving it, oh, Teresa, you're an idiot, and then saying, oh, darn it, why did I say that? Ugh, and stop. Suck it back in. No, it's out. You can't suck it back in, it's out. That's how the law of attraction works. So what I would do, instead of ending it there, oh, darn it, oh, gosh, I'll do better next time, right? I would complete the circle of life in the upswing. And how I would do that is, how it might look is, Teresa, you're an idiot. But you're only an idiot for split seconds of the time, and it's becoming less and less. And you're almost never have those split seconds of an idiot moment. And the ones that you actually still have, they're so insignificant. It's more so that you're just being playful with yourself, like, oh, why did I throw my spoon that I just used and plan to use for the rest of the night? Why did I throw it in the kitchen sink? Right? No worries. I love the trend that's happening is you are using less and less negative words about yourself, and you're almost seeing perfection in your correction, Teresa. And that was very lengthy. That's the lengthiest circle of life that I've ever done. That's funny. It was a pretty good one, though. I have to say it was a pretty good one. You don't have to be that lengthy. Just circle of life, swing it around and end it and connect it to where you had ended it. So that circle of life is now, if you can visualize it, is the self-deprecating words came out here, and they ran through this slope of downward trend, and yuck feeling. Could be even funny, but it's still yuck. It's yuck energy. And then you stop, and you're like, I'm doing that cycle again. Oh, let me fix it. And then you tell the rest of that story, and it swings up like a beautiful fern leaf, and it connects exactly where you stopped. So it just keeps circling. The visual. The last part of that cycle is the only thing that circles. Boom, boom, boom. Just, it's all about good self-talk in that loop circle. So that's pretty cool. You can end any cycle with that. For sure, any thought cycle that you're having, whether you verbalize it or not. And if you want to end a physical cycle, that same activity, because the physical activity, that's a negative situation. Maybe you have an altercation with a type of person, and you keep experiencing this type of person throughout time. different person, but same personality. And you're like, how do I still get that personality, right? How did I left that job 2 years ago? How is this personality still now in front of me again, right? So that's a physical experience. But with every physical experience you have, there's actually words that describe that physical experience. So when we as people in our ego mind, trying to protect ourselves, role plays through that situation, that cycle of that negative interaction that keeps repeating and following you throughout time. As you're telling that story in your mind and remembering it, oh, this was Debbie, or this was Johnny at my last place, now it's, I don't know, Frank. And you're recognizing that it's repetitive. That's when you would apply words and then do that cycle, how it ends. You're telling yourself the story of what's going on, but you're ending the cycle through that circle of life and the positive loop. That will change your life significantly. That's pretty cool. So those are some of the things that I've been learning and practicing since we've last spoken. I had such high hopes to record this video when I decided to come back and record. I was going to make it very theatrical, like I was going to make my hair messier than it is now, and then I would have smoke effects coming up, and I'd be like, whoa, like time traveling from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It'd come out and there's smoke everywhere, and I'd be like, wow, you would not believe the adventure that I've been on since we last spoke. But I didn't get around to it. You can visualize, you can mentally visualize that maybe I did that in the beginning. My throat's very dry right now, sorry. I should have grabbed some water before starting this. The dog is definitely relaxed and chill. She is fine. I'm glad it's not my voice that was making you cringe. I wanted to talk about the Truman Show. I really believe 95% of me believes we're on a Truman Show type of thing. 5% of me has skepticism. But you say, oh, it's just 5%. I'm like, it's still there. 5% is still significant to me. Where I'm constantly trying to poke holes in it, being investigator, that kind of thing. But the movie, The Truman Show, you'll need to watch it. I'm not going to sit here and explain it to you, but in detail. The Truman Show was a person, Truman, that was born onto a movie set in some sort of dome encapsulated environment with lots of actors on the set. And to Truman, it appeared to be that was truly his world. He didn't know anything about it, anything other than that, because that's what he was born and raised in. And now he's this adult, 28 to 32, I don't know. He has a girlfriend, maybe he has a wife, I think that's what she is. He has a job, he has tons of friends, and it's more of like a Andy Griffith show, if you remember those old fun hometown movies. It's set like that, but in color. Very wholesome. And Truman starts to catch on that something is not right. Ultimately, he finds out that he's been, sorry, spoiler alert, it's been out way too long. You'll still enjoy it if you know the ending. Sorry. He finds out that he's on a movie set his entire life. Everything that he's ever known, he's actually on a movie set. He's been recorded at every angle, broadcast to a whole bunch of people. In the movie set, it's people like you and I. Like, that's a show that we would sign on to once a week, I don't know, for 30 minutes or an hour or something like that, right? With full blown on commercials and everything. I don't watch TV. I haven't watched TV in a long time, years. But I'm sure it's still very much the same. So he finds this out, and he finds a way to leave the show, and he finds the exit, and he goes out into the world, and it's the sun. It's like, wow, right? Wow, I was living this experience. So if we are living in the Matrix, and why wouldn't we be recorded? Why wouldn't we be viewed by other beings, right? If the Matrix, I don't believe the Matrix is like the movie The Matrix. I hope it's not that seedy and dark, actually. But I think of it more as a place for souls like myself to come here and experience life in a physical form, and be set up with a set of challenges that I have personally picked out and approved, and said this is how I want my life experiences to be. Those challenges, if I won them, just like in a video game, if you are in a video game and you're running through some sort of challenge or obstacle, either you win it or you don't. Either you catch the prize and put it in your treasure chest or your knapsack, and then you carry it on, and you're more powerful, you're more insightful, more wise, gifted, that kind of thing. And then if you don't hit the challenge, you can keep repeating the challenge. Otherwise, maybe that challenge was just too difficult, so you're going to let it go and then go on to something else. Those challenges that you don't pass, that you don't win, they are actually shadows. They're shadow remnants of the situation, and your body, your physical self, holds those shadows somewhere, like a little gift. I know shadow sounds scary, but it's not scary. Shadow just means your little gift is hiding away, waiting for you to come back and deal with the situation. A lot of times it can be a traumatic situation that creates a shadow. Yeah, a lot. Maybe it was only trauma related, that shadows are created, tucked away, allowing you to go back and revisit those and heal from them and win the challenge, right? In some capacity. You may not get full energy. Maybe you'll get full energy. I don't know. At the time that let's say you overcame that challenge at 5 or 7 or 10 or 20, whatever. You acquire some sort of level of gift or wisdom, some sort of gift, and you are now a better person than you were prior to not winning that challenge. So by working the shadow work later on in life, with that little hidden gift, by you bringing it back up and working that shadow experience and integrating it into yourself, integrating it instead of ignoring it, you actually acquire significant gifts and abilities with that, and you're a much better person than you were prior to working the shadow work. You literally feel like you're a different person. Sometimes the difference is big, sometimes it's kind of smaller, but each one can be felt if you're actually paying attention to it. Oh, that's shadow work again. Sorry. I have several videos that I've mentioned about shadow work. I cannot say enough about it. It is so amazing. So back to the Truman Show. Do I have a Toulouse show? And who's watching me? This is the question that I have in my mind right now, that I want Source to give me the answer to. So I've been connected to Source consciously since a child. I didn't know it was Source, God, but I've always talked to God. Maybe I did talk to God. Maybe I knew I was talking to God. I don't know what I was thinking at 5, but I knew I was talking to somebody. Somebody good. It was not a bad situation at all. So that's been how I worked my life. More so now that I would say, really engaged deeply in 2010 when I discovered the law of attraction, or The Secret, the book The Secret, the movie. And I was like, oh, there's other components to what I've already been doing? Huh. Right. And that sent me on a huge, massive treasure hunt that I've acquired a significant treasure at this point. I really feel abundant in my knowledge. That doesn't mean that my mind is not super open to receiving more. I'm just a person that needs to learn all the time. I love it. I don't know where I was going with this. Shadow self. The Truman Show. Like, who's watching this? Who's watching my show? I think, who would want to watch the Toulouse Show? Who would want to do that? I don't know. My name is Teresa, but I have my stage name off of the Teresa Show is Toulouse. So who is watching the Teresa Show? Like, how many viewers do I have? Is it exciting for some people? And is it people? Is it, if this is a matrix, is it entities? Is it aliens? Is it source fractals? Oh, who's watching? This is the question I have. So I've asked Source, and I want to know who's watching the Teresa Show or the Toulouse Show. Who's watching my show? I actually want to know what they get out of it. Those things would be fun to know. So yeah, I've talked a lot about a lot of things. I mean, they make sense to me in my mind. It's just random thoughts that were coming to me. There's more to come. I have expanded so much that I'm actually just taking some time down, just taking a relaxation time. I took a week off of work, and because I just needed to literally just veg out and do nothing. Now, I haven't quite done nothing. I've done things, which I've traveled a little bit on planes, which was a little tiresome, but I saw cool places, so I'm fine. Now I am literally just chilling out, vegging out, doing nothing other than making this video now. So, I needed that time just to feel what it's going to feel like come June is when I quit my job, my corporate job, my $250,000 a year with medical, dental, retirement, very large company. I'm quitting that cold turkey. And there's no other job that I'm taking. I told my significant other, honey, you need to man the ship for a while. I need to step back and step out of corporate life. I need to create things that I know are there to create, and I cannot do that while I'm working this corporate job. I am way too stressed out. By the way, $250,000 did come with a price tag. Super stressful. Super stressful at times. Not all the time, but super stressful. And a lot of challenges. Remember what I told you about challenges? They're just gifts given to you that you set up pre-birth to go through to help you grow, to help you on your evolutionary path. So now I only this weekend did it really really resounded so strongly with every ounce of my body that I don't even question it, is all the challenges that I've dealt with up to now have all been things that I put in my own way to help me grow and learn something. And I did it. I asked somebody in the pre-birth world, universe, reality, hey, Franks, come play this part with me, please. I really need a big asshole director to interact with. I need him to be in a physical manner that is kind of putrid to me, annoying, mousy, little mouse, little rat. I love rats. Why am I insulting a rat? But I don't know what the movie was. Oh God, it was a horrible movie. It was gosh, what was that movie? It's like, it might have been in black and white, but maybe it had color in it. It was just like early. It was the 70s. I think it was a 70s movie. And they would play it every year on reruns. And it was a kid's movie. And there was a scene in it, in this like German-looking town. This kid snatcher, the kid catcher, would go through. He's riding a horse-drawn buggy with a jail in the back. He's pulling a jail, and any children that he sees out in public that are not with adults, he will grab them. That's his job for the town that he lives in. Grab them, throw them in the back of his prison, in his jail, and then he would take them off to jail, child jail. In this community, maybe this movie, there were a lot of homeless children, so that was not allowed, and they would, I don't know what they did with those children, but that character in that movie, if any of you have seen it, freaking scary. Just a putrid man. That's what Mr. Franks reminds me of. It's just his speech. Ugh. Anyhow, and he's got this really whiny, nasally voice, and ow. Sounds like something from Family Guy. I don't know. Ugh. And he's super short. Sorry for any shorties out there, but he's got the short man's ego, chip on his shoulder. He's like, God, I am searching hard if there's anything enjoyable about him. He is smart. He is very intelligent. So that's the nice thing about him. He's just really putrid to deal with. Nothing makes him happy. He complains about everything. Everybody, his entire organization, I don't know how many there are, hate working for him. He's just a very miserable man, and he brings it to work, and nobody can ever do anything good. He spends 95% of his time complaining about what people didn't do, and 5% he does praise people. And some of the praises, it makes you think, why did he praise that person when that person's a dipshit? They don't do their job at all right. Why is this Mr. Franks praising that person? That's weird. So his entire organization is under a great deal of stress. But this company pays really well, so people don't want to screw up a good thing, so they're willing to deal with it. I don't know how they're willing to deal with it. Well, they're willing to deal with it because they actually don't know their value. If they knew their value, they wouldn't put up with it. But anyhow, I digress. Different story. So I'm dealing with this Mr. Franks. Ugh, I don't even work for him. Like, we're more so partners. But he talks to me in such a degrading manner, and he has the escalation trigger finger of a gnat. If a gnat lands on his finger, he's escalating. It doesn't even matter who. I imagine he escalates something every single day, 5 days a week. And probably thinks about escalating on the weekend and only wishes it was Monday again so he could escalate again. So I'm dealing with this person, and over the weekend I had some really come to Jesus moments, learnings really about why I keep repeating this cycle with this persona of that Mr. Franks is beholden to at this point, displaying. And it came to me. It's something for me to learn. For me to realize that my value is more important than a paycheck. My value is more important than pleasing somebody. My value, my self-value, is more important than saying I work for a really large company and I'm very successful, making a lot of money. My self-worth, and that's what I learned this weekend. I had been learning about it and it had been building, but it wasn't until this weekend, which is Mother's Day weekend for me here in 2026. I went to the Northern California on a Mother's Day trip, and I wanted to visit Sequoia National Forest, and my significant other, thank you, honey, planned a trip for us. And it was a quick 2-day trip, and we're back already, to go see these magnificent trees. And I'm a tree lover. I'm so in love with trees. I'm in love with nature, but so we went on this trip, and after visiting the trees, there was a lot of downtime for us until we caught the next flight to go home. And in this time, which is relatively short for the amount of healing and wisdom that I amassed in less than 24 hours, I amassed an unmeasurable at this point amount of wisdom, healing, and superhero powers, quite honestly. Learning why I keep repeating that particular scenario and any other scenario, and that it's all about, in that scenario and a lot of the other ones, it's about releasing my ego. Telling my ego, which is my masculine side, I've been masculine dominant for as long as I know. I was a tomboy growing up. I was the cutest little tomboy ever. A lot of people thought I was girly, but I was through and through a tomboy. So I've been masculine dominant, but I look, especially blonde, I look very feminine. So it was a weird dichotomy. It was very confusing for a lot of people. I learned to ask my dominant ego self to take a chill, take a relaxation, take a vacation. That the feminine side of me, who's been there, but low key, on the low key side of life, I went into my feminine side and asked my masculine side to go take a vacation that I want to take over for a while. That you've done an amazing job of protecting us thus far, and now God is protecting us. Divine Source is protecting us. So you can chill out and let me go ahead and be my artsy, fartsy, creative self. And we no longer need the protection that you gave us to deal with the Mr. Franks of the world and the other stuff that you dealt with too. And through that conversation that I was having between my feminine side and my masculine side, boom, I healed that. It was physically something that I felt. I'm like, oh my God, Mr. Franks is no longer a thought in my mind. there may be residual thoughts of Mr. Franks, but they're not, they do not move my energy and my state of mind in a negative way like they were. I'm actually able to send Frank's love and light and healings of abundance, in hoping that he somehow finds a way to live a more beautiful, harmonious life, after I gave him that blessing. Now I'm able, this is Thursday, this is, 4 days later, I'm able to chuckle at it going, wow, do you remember when he sent that email in such a demeaning manner? Like, why would any director level person at any company send anything in writing the way he wrote it? Like, we have a tool at work, it's ChatGPT. It's Copilot. Sorry. It's similar to ChatGPT or Grok or whatever the other ones are out there. But it's AI. And I had ran his dialogue, his email, through our Copilot to analyze the tone of it, the overall message, the professionalism. And Mr. Franks, let's just say Copilot gave you a lot of F's and maybe one D, but you failed miserably at communicating in a collaborative, professional manner. So I was just doing that to validate. I was not being overly sensitive. So that was a cool finding. But now I'm able to go back and think, oh, that email he sent, that's so funny. Like, I wonder technically, yes, I asked him to come here pre-birth to be this experience for me. And he was like, yeah, Teresa, whatever I was called at the time. Yeah, Teresa, I'll do that for you. I love you so much. I'll be the Mr. Franks at the company that you work for in 2026, and I'll play this role for you, right? If you haven't figured it out prior to 2026. So anyhow, now I can just chuckle at it, and ultimately I've decided, well before this weekend, that I was quitting this job cold turkey. I needed some time down, and yeah, it's a really refreshing feeling. We're in a financial situation that cutting $250,000 from our household budget will be okay. We're definitely not going to live the life that we were living until something magical happens. That is probably in my future, that's my guess. But for some time, I don't know if that's days, weeks, months, I can't imagine that it's years, we'll be living a little bit more tighter budget, paying attention to how we're spending our money, that kind of thing. And I'm fine with that. And my significant other is supporting me on this journey. He probably is like, girl, whatever it takes to get your mind back into healthy mode and feeling good about life, I'm going to support you on this. He's been a real doll. I adore him a lot. So, very easygoing, very easy partner for me. I totally see why I have acquired him in this stage of my life, and he's acquired me. Anyhow, quitting my corporate life. I think that might have been kind of the intro to this video, and mixed in with a whole bunch of other stuff. I couldn't be happier. I'm not nervous. If you knew my personality much prior to this, you would say, you're lying, Teresa. Because I would overly prepare for things, and financial stability was the utmost important to me. Is, if we don't have financial stability, how could I pay and take care of my children? How could I have basic clothes to wear? How could I have a roof over my head and my children's head? So financial stability was vitally important to me. And now I'm like, we're gonna live with a lot less. Um, and yes, having a dip in income by 250,000 a year is going to be felt for some period of time. I don't know how long that is. But the fact that I'm not concerned about it, I'm here on a video that others will see to tell you I am wildly excited. Can't you see it in my face? I am, I really am wildly excited for what's to come. I really hope and pray that I never work for corporate America again. And that's fine if it works out for you. But I'm a very creative person and a very esoteric, thinking outside of the box, a huge visionary, even inside corporate world. The stuff that I created mentally and implemented, and all the stuff that I didn't get to implement because there was just only one of me, and well, let's just say people are lazy. I gave them ideas and they didn't want to take it, but whatever. The stuff that I was able to accomplish in my corporate world life has really been cool. I'm glad that I was able to do that, but I never want to go back to it again. I actually want to work with people that want to work with me, like they come to me, and I want to be able to help those people get where they want to be in life, as long as it's a positive intent manner. I'm definitely not going to help a drug dealer learn how to sell more drugs, am I? Illegal drugs, that is. Or I'm not going to help a killer learn how to kill more people, right? So it all has to be positive intent. But I will hopefully help a killer reform their life, a drug dealer, legal drug dealer, reform their life and find better, creative, more positive, enriching ways that they can find self-fulfillment, happiness and joy out of, right, before they leave this earth, and their body experience. That's what I would love to do. Overall, I would say fundamentally that is raise the frequency of everything around me. And I mentioned before living in 5D. I'm full time in 5D. I very rarely plop out of 5D. Even Frank's has most of the time, actually it's the times that I plop out of 5D is when I'm interacting with Frank's. Most of the time I'm not interacting with him at all. But I spend most of my time in 5D. I need to get more of you in there. Like, it's kind of lonely. I go to restaurants, really good restaurants, and there's nobody in there. It's just myself or me and my significant other, or me and the family members that I've taken with me. I'm like, how does this, what? This cannot be how this restaurant is surviving. Like, there's nobody in here but us. I go to the grocery store and there's so few people in it. Driving on the road, my drives, amazing drives, like not obnoxious traffic at all. When I was going into the corporate office, hardly anybody was working, and everybody that is in that experience is either very happy, joyous, will even approach me in unusual manners and to interact with me. And now I've learned to just enjoy it and chuckle about it, because it's like, oh, there's another one, oh, there's another one, oh my god, look at that, right? And then there are what I call non-character players that you can see they're just filler. Like if the Matrix if the Matrix didn't have these fillers, it would be even weirder. Like, maybe I would feel like I'm almost like Last Woman on Earth type of scenario. If you guys saw that TV show, maybe it was a Netflix show, I don't know, a long time ago when I was watching that stuff. Anyhow, I think I will leave it here for this video. Until next time, I hope you enjoy your every now moment. And please, please, please watch previous videos where I talk in length about how to execute shadow work. It's an amazing, amazing tool. You can do it yourself. It costs you no money. Once you learn it, the technique, you have it, and you can use it at any time. You can use it in any place that you're in, as long as you're awake. It's a wake activity. And it gives you superpowers. So who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want superpowers? All right. Peace and love, and I hope you have a wonderful now moment. Take care. Until next time.